What is something people often criticize you for not liking? Alcohol, not drinking, people just don't get it. This one is the worst for me too. And people act like I'm bringing down the party just because I'd rather sip on a Topo Chico instead of doing shots of tequila. Like, why do they care so much? They're always complaining about it until I offer to drive their drunk ass home. I read an article once that talked about how asking someone who doesn't drink why they don't drink can be an uncomfortable scenario for the non-drinker. Now when someone tells me they don't drink, I don't even bat an eye, which is what I think they prefer. I always tell people it's just not my thing, and if they don't drop it at that, I usually will ask, why do you care so much? Or why does it matter? And often they get the message and drop it, but some people just get so heated about my decision not to drink, and I'm like, it's like they can't understand people have reasons they don't drink. It can be complicated, like a family history of alcoholism or simply because alcohol tastes like ass, but it's 100% no one's business. I was at a party of some kind, at a restaurant, and everyone was ordering drinks. I ordered a Coke, my wife ordered a club soda with lime. There were two other people we didn't know, across from us. They asked us, "Are you a friend of Bob and Mike?" Or something like that. We said no, and they said, "Oh, that's how you identify other recovering alcoholics." We just assumed, since you didn't order drinks. So not drinking even throws off recovering alcoholics. It's Bob and Bill. But you're cool. I used to not drink for religious reasons, which either fascinated people and led to lengthy conversations and my eternal role as their DD, or to embarrassed apologies. Neither response really made much sense to me because it seemed like such a small thing to me, but now it's even funnier when people find out I'm in my 50s and have only had a few drinks in my life. New drinker is apparently weirder than non-drinker. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I just don't care about them, and while some content could be nice, the vast majority of it is not stuff I enjoy. Same, it kind of promotes vanity and being in other people's business. Not to mention TikTok ruining people's attention spans. I genuinely think it's making people stupid. I used to be on them, but I find Reddit way more helpful and I learn a lot more on here, whilst enjoying a laugh every so often. Extremely well said. I realized it made me so consumer-driven to have the latest and greatest nonsense that it was promoting all of that girl stuff. When in reality, I just want to live my own life without buying stuff just because it influences me to. I think social media is pretty sinister. Seafood. Growing up Italian and not indulging in the seafood spread always gets me hated on by family. Italian here. My grandpa just tells everyone he's allergic, prob solved. Great idea. Your grandpa is a wide man, lol. Edit, I meant wise man, sorry. Hey, don't be talking about his grandpa like that. OMG, I meant wise. Our neighbor invited us over to their feast of the 7 fishes on Christmas Eve. Now, when I think of seafood, it is fried and covered with tartar sauce, yum. This was oysters on the half shell with mignonette sauce and squid ink pasta with lobster, clams, shrimp and crab. Plus 5 other courses just like the first 2. Now, I can say, I don't like fish either. Yeah, it absolutely repulses me, some of the dishes. Clams, casino, oysters, all of it feels like swallowing a booger, lol. Fried anything is good, to be fair though. That spread you experienced sounds about right. Blag. I don't eat fish, fresh or saltwater. Can't stand it. Nobody gives me a hard time because I have a legit shrimp allergy. Ironically, shrimp was the only seafood I would eat until I had my first reaction. Wish I liked it because I will be doing international traveling soon and going to fish-heavy places. I think I may have to be a vegetarian for some trips. I have been a veggie before, and that in itself can be offensive to some. I'm a 7th-generation Mainer. It's practically against the law for me to dislike seafood, but I do. People give me a hard time for not drinking coffee. When people hear I don't like coffee, I get a bunch of follow-up questions, like, are you Mormon? WTF? No, I just don't like coffee. Then they want to find the specific type of coffee I like. Oh, you'll love this coffee. No. I won't. I don't like the taste of coffee. I can drink sugary bullshit coffee. Like milk and a bunch of sugar or lattes or cortados. But the healthiest coffee is just black coffee, and overall the taste of coffee is not for me. Ha ha, same. I did learn Vietnamese iced coffee is great because it's so smooth and creamy and kind of chocolatey. But I generally don't ever drink coffee. It's so annoying when people are like, OMG, what? How do you wake up in the morning? Like, well, I open my eyes and then I'm awake, crazy. It's becoming more and more widespread, the scientific fact about how coffee works. We guys have a substance which captures molecules of a hormone called adenosine around the body. In order to empty the receptors, you need to sleep. The more adenosine you have captured, the more sleepy you feel. Caffeine molecules are similar to adenosine molecules. The receptors get confused and capture the caffeine instead of the adenosine, waking you up. But this provokes a reaction from the brain, which produces more receptors which will capture more adenosine, and you'll have more trouble at waking up in the morning. This is called caffeine tolerance, and, as the name says, it makes you need more caffeine to feel the effects of the first time you drink coffee. To summarize, the more coffee you drink, the more coffee you need to wake up. Thus, as you don't drink coffee to wake up, you have less adenosine receptors, therefore it's easier for you to wake up than coffee drinkers. P.S. I stated what I remember without looking at Google first. If I got some names or reactions wrong, I'll be happy to hear it and correct my mistakes. I know, they're addicted to caffeine, but the annoying part is they can't even fathom that someone who never drank coffee anyway, doesn't need it to function. Vietnamese iced coffee is a dessert. Yum. Love this. I say something similar, which is essentially, well, I set my alarm. It goes off and I decide I'm an adult and therefore have to get up like an adult. In all honesty, I've always been a morning person. Yes, some days I have difficulty getting up. There have been days when I'm depressed and I can't get up. But more often than not, when my alarm goes off, I toss the covers and start my day. Like, it doesn't need to be this whole battle with what I know is inevitably coming, my job and life responsibilities. LOL, I turned this around on someone once and it was both hilarious and sad to see the light go on. It was a friend of mine and she had just gotten a home espresso machine when I was over visiting. She kept trying to make me new coffee drinks with different blends and different syrups and wouldn't accept that I just didn't like coffee. About a week later she was at my place and I did the exact same thing back to her with tea and made her 6 different cups of green tea with different things like honey/lemon, and she hated them all. I was like, see? I don't like coffee like you don't like tea. A different blend or mix-in doesn't change that. She was flabbergasted. I don't understand why it is so hard for people to understand this simple concept. Sushi. I've tried it in 8 different occasions with 8 different rolls and just don't like it. When I mention it, I always get the, well, have you tried this roll? I don't like weed. I get the same comment. You haven't tried this strain. Oh, try gummies, they hit different. Fair, I don't like getting high. Same, I used to smoke when I was younger. It gives me panic attacks now no matter how or what I try. I don't like the high feeling. Never did even when I used to smoke. I used it to help my PTSD and insomnia. What's worse is the handful times I've tried it since developing panic attacks from it, I smile during them. It's some weird panic response trying not to show how badly I'm freaking out internally even as I feel like I can't breathe. People take that as me enjoying it even as I'm saying I'm not. It's not a conscious action. I always end up having to find a dark room to lock myself in while I lay there feeling like I'm going to die, reminding myself that it will pass. I just need to breathe and let it get out of my system or hope I can fall asleep until it wears off. I don't like the disconnected feeling from my body I get with it and how it warps my senses. As a Christian, I get very uncomfortable when people start evangelizing around me. I have my faith, have been baptized and confirmed. I have a personal relationship with God. People tell me I should be spreading the word. I think I should continue being kind to people and living my life in a good way without shoving my religion down other people's throats or using it as an excuse to be hateful to others. Why I quit going to church? I'll just chill with me and God, it's been working well so far. Amen. I'll never forget this. About 6 or 7 years ago I decided to give church another try. I found a nice one in my neighborhood. I went every Sunday and eventually went to their Bible school classes in the evenings. I also volunteered to pack bags when they were giving out meals. I was enjoying myself. Then came the hard marketing. People forget that church is a business. They were vying hard for me to become a member. It would be to the point where I was at the gym and see a member and they'd start with the snarks. Well, one day we want to see you join the church. Hope you'll become a member. Wasn't I behaving like a member? I saw a lot of members were not present when we were packing up those meal bags. That should be enough. The pressure got so annoying I stopped going. That's it. I'm done. Joel Osteen serves me just fine from the comfort of my couch. But I did write a letter to them to let them know how their practices squeezed me out. Never got a reply. People cannot seem to accept the fact I dislike marijuana. I am all for legalizing it and do believe people suffer less consequences from it than alcohol consumption. However, it makes me very anxious and gets me in my head. I do not like how nervous I get when stoned, and I'd say 50% of the times that I am stoned, I have a panic attack and question everything about my existence. I feel I cannot control my body and my heart races. It is as if my brain cannot control itself and all of my intrusive thoughts come to the forefront, as well as many things I've never considered. It is like a wild reality check all at once that sends me into panic. Everything I don't like to think about, and I become too self-aware, which doesn't feel awesome. I cannot ignore my thoughts when high, and I don't like that. The other times, perhaps I enjoy my thoughts while alone and have a decent time. However, those are very circumstantial instances for me, and it doesn't matter the intake, as much as for me it matters if I'm alone, who I'm with, what mood I am in, how I consumed the THC, how stable my life has been lately, and what has been racing through my mind, because all of those things can come up while high, which freaks me the fuck out. Therefore, those terrifying times make it a toss-up for me and not worth the risk. I literally almost called the police on myself when stoned once because I believed I needed to go to the hospital. That is how bad I was bugging out. Everyone has a different chemistry and our brains are wired differently. I have always preferred to be in complete solitude while stoned. With all of that said, this seems to really offend pot smokers. They assume I've not had the right strain. Or that the issue is me. Of course it's me. That's what I'm saying. I am not blaming weed. I am saying my brain cannot handle it. Why is that so difficult to understand? Smoke around me all you want. I don't judge. But don't be a jerk when I tell you that I don't like weed. Trust me, y'all don't want me to take a hit unless you want me to clam up and go silent. I cannot even entertain a convo. Also, What's up with so many pot smokers getting mad when you tell them they can't light up in a car with you? Really? Would you drink a road beer and drive? About a year ago someone got very rude with me because I told her I wasn't okay with her smoking a joint while operating a moving vehicle with me inside. You'd have thought I called her a drug addict. I didn't, and I was amazed by the response I received. Now that I will judge. Of course not everyone does that, but I'm sorry, driving stoned is unacceptable and I have noticed that a lot of regular smokers seem to think they drive better high. You are still impaired. Wait until you're sober. Smoke at home. Don't smoke and drive. If you were drinking, you'd be expected to do the same. Yep. It either knocks me out, or makes it impossible to think. Star Wars. I just don't care. It's not my thing. But God forbid you mention that, you're looked at like a psycho and then people try, in the most obnoxious manner, to change your mind. It's not a personal attack, Sean, I just don't give a shit about it. I've tried to watch the first one several times but can't ever get further than half an hour in. Don't get me wrong, when I was a kid I very much enjoyed 4 or 5 and 6, but I didn't make it my entire fucking identity. And it is so crazy to me how rabid the fans can be. Like I've literally had someone call me the devil and say that I am obviously the world's most horrible person because I didn't give a flying fuck about any of the new Star Wars shit past 1980-something. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.